Have you ever wondered how ancient societies in India were governed? What were the laws, and who created them? Let's take a leap back in time to ancient India, a period steeped in rich cultural traditions and societal norms that heavily influenced the legal system of the time. One of the most influential texts shaping the legal landscape was the Manusmriti. Also known as the Laws of Manu, this ancient legal text laid down the rules for various aspects of life, from personal conduct to societal obligations. The Manusmriti was not just a set of laws, but a reflection of the sociocultural ethos of the time, providing a unique insight into the complexities of ancient Indian society. As we transition into the medieval period, a new legal system emerged with the advent of Islamic jurisprudence. The Delhi Sultanate, and subsequently, the Mughal Empire, brought with them a distinct legal tradition rooted in Islamic law. Known as Sharia, this comprehensive legal system covered civil, criminal, constitutional, and even personal matters. Interestingly, the Mughals adopted a hybrid legal system, incorporating elements of Hindu jurisprudence into their own. This synthesis of legal traditions resulted in a unique blend of laws that were administered through a network of courts across the empire. The Qazi courts, for instance, were responsible for implementing Islamic law, while the village panchayats continued to function under traditional Hindu laws. However, it wasn't a straightforward process. Balancing diverse legal traditions in a land of pluralistic cultures was a daunting task. Yet, these early legal systems, with all their complexities and contradictions, laid the foundation for a structured governance that would evolve over centuries. So, from the intricate laws of the Manusmriti to the blended legal systems of the medieval era, India's legal history was as diverse as it was profound. These early legal systems were not just about maintaining law and order, they were a reflection of the societal values, norms, and beliefs of their time. And that's what makes them so fascinating. These early legal systems laid the foundation for a structured governance that would evolve over centuries. The advent of British rule brought about a significant shift in India's legal landscape. But what exactly changed? Well, the British, in their quest for an orderly administration, introduced their legal practices and statutes, profoundly altering the face of Indian law. This wasn't just a matter of swapping out one set of laws for another, though. The British established a dual system of governance. They retained many traditional Indian laws while introducing British statutes to govern their own personnel and matters involving European and Indian relations. One of the first significant changes was the introduction of the Charter Act of 1833. It marked the beginning of a centralized legislative council that laid the groundwork for lawmaking in India. Also, the codification of laws, a practice unfamiliar to traditional Indian jurisprudence, was initiated. The Indian Penal Code, the Indian Evidence Act, and the Civil Procedure Code are classic examples of this new approach, which aimed at providing a clear, uniform legal system. However, these changes weren't without their critics. Many Indians saw these new laws as a tool of oppression, a way for the British to exercise control. The British legal system was alien to Indian society, and its implementation often led to a clash of cultures. The British also introduced the concept of the rule of law. This meant that all laws applied equally to everyone, irrespective of their status or position. But in reality, this principle was often ignored, leading to widespread discontent and a sense of injustice among the Indian populace. Despite these challenges, this era of legal transformation had a significant impact on Indian society. It introduced new concepts of justice and governance, which, though initially met with resistance, eventually became ingrained in the Indian legal consciousness. This era also set the stage for a fight for independence that would also be a fight for legal reform. The seeds of dissent sown during this period would later grow into a powerful movement that sought to reclaim India's legal sovereignty from its colonial masters. The Indian freedom struggle was not just about political independence, but also about legal independence. How did this manifest? Let's dive into that. The freedom movement and legal thought in India were inextricably linked. As the struggle for independence from British rule gained momentum, so too did the demand for legal reforms. The Indian legal luminaries, with their deep understanding of law and justice, played a pivotal role in this phase. A key figure was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, better known as Mahatma Gandhi. He was not just a political leader, but a legal visionary. Trained as a barrister in England, Gandhi understood the power of law as an instrument of change. He leveraged nonviolent civil disobedience as a legal strategy, challenging the unjust laws imposed by the British. His Satyagraha or Truth Force movement questioned the legitimacy of British rule, setting the stage for India's quest for legal autonomy. However, the legal thought during the freedom movement wasn't just about challenging British laws. It was also about envisioning what the legal system of an independent India would look like. This is where Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, another legal luminary, comes into the picture. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was a jurist, economist, politician, and social reformer, but above all he was an advocate for equality and social justice. Born into a marginalized community, Ambedkar experienced firsthand the injustices of social discrimination. He dedicated his life to combating these injustices through legal means. His work in drafting the Indian Constitution was instrumental in embedding principles of social justice, equality, and liberty into the legal fabric of independent India. The efforts of these legal luminaries and many others during the freedom movement laid the foundation for a legal system that was uniquely Indian. Rooted in the country's socio-cultural context yet forward-looking in its embrace of universal human rights and democratic principles. Their vision laid the groundwork for the constitution of an independent India. Indeed, the legal thought that emerged during the freedom movement continues to resonate in the constitutional and legal discourse of India today. The drafting of the Indian Constitution was a significant moment in India's legal history. But what shaped this crucial document? In the aftermath of independence, India stood on the precipice of a new era. The task at hand was monumental: to create a constitution that would guide the newly independent nation. The responsibility fell on the shoulders of the Constituent Assembly, a body of elected representatives who had the mammoth task of drafting a constitution that would reflect the diverse aspirations of the Indian people. The Constituent Assembly, under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, embarked on this journey in December 1946. Over the course of nearly 3 years they held 11 sessions, and through meticulous deliberations, debates, and discussions, the Indian Constitution began to take shape. These debates were not just about laws and governance. They were about the kind of nation India aspired to be. The Assembly grappled with questions of fundamental rights, the structure of government, and the balance of power between the center and the states. The Constitution had to be a document that would stand the test of time, while also being adaptable to the changing needs of a dynamic society. The Assembly was also influenced by various other constitutions from around the world, drawing from their strengths, while ensuring the final document was uniquely Indian. The American Constitution's concept of judicial review, the Irish Constitution's directive principles, and the British parliamentary system, among others, found their way into the Indian Constitution. The result was a constitution that enshrined the principles of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. It recognized India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic, committed to securing for its citizens a social, economic, and political justice. On the 26th of January 1950, the Constitution of India came into effect. This marked a historic moment, as India transitioned from a colonial rule to becoming a self-governing democratic republic. This marked the birth of India as a constitutional democracy. India's constitutional journey is filled with landmark cases and amendments. But which ones reshaped Indian law? In the annals of Indian legal history, certain cases and amendments stand out for their far-reaching impact. One such pivotal case is the Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, decided in 1973. This case is renowned for establishing the basic structure doctrine of the Constitution. The Supreme Court held that while Parliament has wide powers, it did not have the power to destroy or alter the basic structure of the Constitution. This decision ensured the longevity and integrity of the Constitution, safeguarding it against arbitrary changes. Another monumental case is the Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India from 1978. This case expanded the interpretation of the right to life and personal liberty enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court ruled that the right to live is not merely a physical right, but encompasses the right to live with human dignity. As for amendments, the 42nd Amendment, also known as the Mini-Constitution, brought about sweeping changes. Passed in 1976 during the emergency, it expanded the directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties, emphasizing the nation's commitment to social justice and secularism. The 101st Amendment, enacted in 2017, introduced the Goods and Services Tax, a landmark in India's tax reforms. It subsumed several indirect taxes, aiming to create a unified, comprehensive indirect tax system. The journey of Indian law is not a static one. It's a dynamic, evolving process responding to the needs and challenges of the times. The landmark cases and amendments discussed here are but a few examples of the many legal milestones that have continually shaped and reshaped the Indian legal landscape. These decisions and amendments have continually redefined the legal landscape of India. The legal system of India continues to evolve in the face of globalization and technological change. But what are the contemporary challenges and developments? As we step into the era of digital revolution and global interconnectivity, the Indian legal system grapples with a new set of challenges, and at the same time, opportunities for growth and reform. One of the most pertinent issues today is the need to modernize and digitize legal processes. With the rapid advancement of technology, it is vital for the legal framework to keep pace, ensuring justice remains accessible and efficient in the digital age. From online dispute resolution mechanisms to digitization of court records, the Indian judiciary is making strides to adapt to the changing landscape. In the realm of international law, India is a key player in shaping global norms and standards. Navigating international treaties and agreements requires a sophisticated understanding of the global legal landscape, and India's influence in this arena continues to grow. The rise of social issues like environmental conservation, gender equality, and LGBTQ+ rights have also created new legal frontiers. Legislations and judicial decisions related to these matters reflect the evolving social consciousness and the legal system's role in addressing these concerns. Then there's the challenge of ensuring legal inclusivity. With a diverse population of over 1 billion people, the Indian legal system must ensure that it caters to the needs of different communities and social groups, respecting their unique traditions and customs while upholding the rule of law. Finally, the fight against corruption remains a major area of focus. Strengthening transparency, accountability, and integrity within the legal system is a continuous endeavor, and the introduction of legal reforms in this area is a vital aspect of the journey towards a more just society. These contemporary challenges and developments serve as a testament to the dynamic nature of the Indian legal system. As the world changes, so too does the law, reflecting the society it serves and the ideals it upholds. As we continue to navigate the complexities of the 21st century, the legal system in India continues its evolution. From ancient legal traditions to a modern constitutional democracy, India's legal history is a fascinating journey. We've traversed through the ages, from the ancient Manu Smriti to the transformative British rule, the freedom struggle's legal thought, and the framing of the Indian Constitution. We've examined landmark legal cases, amendments, and contemporary legal developments. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the legal and constitutional history of India. Stay tuned for more insightful explorations into India's past.